Having recently reviewed the Amazfit and Polar Loop to see if they could compete with the Hume Band, we finally have another contender in the faceless fitness tracker world, the Hume Health Band. But unlike your regular fitness tracker, this one's marketed as a longevity tracker. Now it's currently £189 with no subscription needed for most of the features, though there is a premium upgrade which we'll get to later. Physically, the band is almost half the size of the Whoop strap, which is great if you've got dainty wrists like my friend. But here's the first problem. Because there's no clip or strap for the band, it's just a loop you push your hand through. My friend with really dainty wrists really struggled to get the band tight enough, and because of this, he ended up snapping it and having to use sellotape to stick it back together, which isn't ideal. This could be due to how the straps are produced, but that's something we'll get to later in the video. It charges via a plug-in charger, meaning you have to take it off every time you charge it, and the battery lasts about 4 days. In comparison to the Whoop, where you can actually keep the Whoop on the whole time and it lasts for 14 days. I just want to be clear, I'm not sponsored by either of these bands. There's no affiliate links in the description below. This is all just my personal opinion, and I think that's important to say nowadays on YouTube. Now, all your data lives in the Hume app, and this also syncs with the Hume body fat scales, which I've also been testing out, and if you're interested in seeing a review about those, let me know below. Now, first impressions of the app is it's very clean and modern to use, which is really refreshing, especially after the diabolical time we had with the Polar Loop app. Similar to most fitness trackers, it monitors your sleep, stress, and recovery and gives you an overall health score. Since it's more focused on longevity, it leans more into recovery and wellness metrics rather than workouts. It also gives you daily goals for your strain and metabolic capacity, basically telling you whether you should push harder or take it easy. Scroll down and you'll find things like sleep overview, step count, calories, and heart rate zones. Everything's laid out really clearly and easy to use, which I think is actually important when it's something you're going to be checking on a daily basis. Now, I think the most important metric when it comes to these fitness trackers is how it monitors your sleep, since that directly affects your recovery and readiness scores. And the main issue I ran in with the Hume Band isn't the data itself, but again, how the data is displayed. Let me show you what I mean by comparing a night's sleep on the Whoop to a night's sleep on the Hume Band. So on my Whoop, you can see my sleep performance was 80%, and that's based on things like sleep consistency, efficiency, and more. It also shows my total time asleep, which was 7 hours and 54, and also my time awake, which is 1 hour and 22, which is kind of crazy because you never actually remember being awake in the night. But the key info for me is the REM and deep sleep. These are important because deep sleep is when your body is actually recovering in the night, and REM sleep is when your mind is recovering in the night. And we can see last night I got 2 hours and 48 minutes of restorative sleep, which is pretty good, though my REM sleep definitely needs a little bit of work. Now let's look at my sleep on the Hume Band. Now first we can see that I slept for 7 hours and 58, which is very close to the 7 hours and 54 on the Whoop Band, so the data is pretty much identical. But when you click to get more data on your sleep, you're just welcomed with this very basic graph. You can see my deep and REM sleep on the graph, but you can't really tell how long I've been in each of these sleep phases. It looks very clean, but it's just very basic, and it seems weird because they've got the data there. It would be really useful if they could just put the numbers underneath. This seems like a missed opportunity to me, as I've really improved my sleep a lot using the Whoop sleep function, especially the sleep journal, which helps you identify habits that negatively impact your sleep, as well as the built-in vibration alarm, so you can wake up with your Whoop vibrating, which I think is really good, and the Hume Band doesn't have that either. Now, despite the lack of sleep data, most of the other data was consistent with my Whoop. There was just one other thing I found confusing, and that was the HRV. And in case you didn't know, HRV stands for heart rate variability, and it measures how much variation there is between each heartbeat. A high HRV means your body's rested and adaptable, and a low HRV means your body's under stress or needs recovery. Now, my Whoop average for HRV is around 68, which is good. And my Hume average was around 109, which if you look at the HRV chart is like exceptional readiness, like every single day, which doesn't seem quite right. So I had to look a little bit further into this. So the reason the HRV looks different on the Whoop compared to the Hume is basically the way that they're measuring things. As Whoop is more focused on training readiness, it takes your HRV reading in a very strict window. It's during the end of your deep sleep, which is usually when your HRV is at its lowest. And as Hume is more focused on longevity, it tracks your HRV over a 24-hour period and usually picks the most high quality stable period, which gives you a much higher HRV reading. So it's not that either of them are wrong, they're just built with totally different goals in mind. And I thought this is worth mentioning as someone who personally tracks his HRV. I was just a little bit thrown off by seeing the discrepancy in the numbers. Hume also offers a premium plan, which is $79.99 for a year. but they also offer a 30-day free trial, which is what I tried out. This includes features like your metabolic momentum, a health report that combines data from the band and scales, and access to programs and classes. For me, I don't think these add-ons were really worth it, which is also a good thing because it means you can get all the benefits from the band without having to pay for the subscription. I think the real benefits to the membership are the fitness classes and the help with the nutrition, which I personally didn't really need. But if you're someone who needs workout programs and nutrition guidance as well, then it's probably worth your while. Overall, my experience with the Hume Band was pretty positive, despite the snapping. I really like the layout of the app and it's super easy to use, and the data is fairly similar to the Whoop. However, for me, I personally like having deeper insights into my data, for example, the REM and deep sleep. And I know this is a longevity tracker, not a fitness tracker, but the fact that you can't track your workouts and monitor your progress with your training means, for me, this isn't a Whoop killer and couldn't replace my Whoop, unfortunately. Now, before we wrap up the video, I did stumble upon something quite controversial while trying to do a little bit of last-minute research for this video, and it was with our good old friend, the quantum scientist. Now, someone messaged him on Reddit saying there was a band that looks suspiciously similar to this one, but much cheaper. It apparently comes in a similar box, uses the same charger, and here's the wild part, it even connects to the Hume app. So this could either be a huge coincidence, a manufacturing overlap, or Hume is simply white labeling an existing tracker and slapping their name on it. Now, I really don't know what I think about all this, but I found it pretty interesting and I thought it was at least worth mentioning in the video. And if you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments below.